Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to do a little bit of an explanation on what the difference is between a semi-permanent colour, a demi-permanent colour and a permanent colour, because this simple bit of knowledge makes a huge, massive bit of difference between what colour you choose when you're colouring your hair at home. And it's shocking, really, how that information isn't available, and the results you get and the damage that you do to your hair is like vital that you know this kind of thing, which is why I set up, and that is why you are here, and that is why I am here, to educate you guys on how to colour your hair properly at home. You can have just as good hair colouring your hair at home as you do by going to a salon, but the main reason why you will have that is by understanding about colour choices and why you can have certain things and why you can't. So this particular video I'm going to do on the difference between a demi, semi and a permanent colour, or a semi-demi and a permanent colour. Now, demi-permanent colour isn't a term that you hear used that often. Even myself, which actually I probably, if I'm going to start educating this, I need to change that terminology. But a demi-permanent colour is in fact what we would probably call a which I would call semi-permanent colour. But I'm going to start changing that so that it makes sense what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we have the three different types of colour. I'm going to start with what each of them do, and then I will go into a little bit more about like why you would choose each one. So firstly, this here is a diagram of a strand of hair. It's a basic diagram. I'm sure there is a much more scientific explanation of that, but basically this is your hair shaft and this is your hair cuticles, and that's what each strand of hair on your head looks like. So how do these three different colours work on your hair? So the demi-permanent colour, first of all, colour comes in molecules. So they're just basically little balls of colour pigment, and then the amount of peroxide that each of the products have in it affects on how much your cuticles are open for the colour to go in. So let's start with the semi-permanent hair colour. Now, a semi-permanent hair colour is something like what I use quite a lot. These are the colour effects, like Superdrug colour. It's basically a colour that has no peroxide in it. So also the Bleach London. So these are semi-permanent hair colours. So they don't have peroxide. So what the molecule in these colours is basically, when you put it on your hair, it sits like that on the outside of your hair. So when you wash your hair, this molecule is already just sitting on the outside of the hair, so they will fall off quite quickly. Like, really, the general, anywhere between 2 and, the Bleach London ones are 2 to 30 washes. 2 to 30 washes. Bleach London. The colour effects, the colour effects I would say are probably more like 2 to 6 washes. Now, the difference between the colour effects and the Bleach London, the difference is the type of colour that it is. So with these colour effects colours, the molecule is just a colour molecule that goes on and washes off. With the Bleach London colours, they have more of like a stain in it. That's why it can take longer for the Bleach London colours to come out. Because you're also putting these on blonde hair or bleached hair, the colour pigment can stain. So although the molecule comes out, you can still be left with a little bit of stain on the hair. So basically, a semi-permanent colour It just sits on the hair. Okay, so if you want to screenshot that, that might be helpful. So this is your hair shaft. This is the molecule of a semi-permanent hair colour. Okay, so what is a demi-permanent colour? A demi-permanent colour, it has a little bit of peroxide, but so it still is a semi-permanent colour in the sense that it washes out, but it does permanently change the colour of your hair. So when a colour has peroxide in it, what it is doing, it is opening up the hair shaft, and it is like changing a little bit of what your own hair colour is. So basically, when you use a demi-permanent hair colour, a demi-permanent hair colour goes in here. Okay, so demi-permanent colours are L'Oreal castings. L'Oreal castings, anyway, are demi-permanent colours. So anything that says lasts up to 28 washes. So that is a demi-permanent colour. So L'Oreal castings are demi-permanent colours. Now, these obviously, although it says that it only lasts up to 28 shampoos, in some ways that is true, because the colour molecule does wash out. So this does wash out, but because it's had peroxide in, it will permanently change your natural hair colour. I'm not even sure if you can see this. Maybe I should have had these already written out. Okay. The demi-permanent colours are great because you can use these as toners. So these are also great to use as toners, because you can put them over other colour, and because it has a little bit of peroxide, it does change the colour of the hair. Yeah, so that is what a demi-permanent hair colour is. Okay, so you might want to screenshot that. And then, this side, we'll do a permanent hair colour. So, permanent. Permanent, that's probably not even how you spell it. Permanent, permanent. Do you know what? I'm not even embarrassed about the fact that I can't spell it, and I'm not even going to edit it or change it, because do you know why? Because I have ADHD, I find numbers, I find spelling really difficult, and I know a lot of people that follow me have children with ADHD or with dyslexia or adults, and part of what I want to achieve by doing this is that just because there are certain things that you can't do with these things, it doesn't mean that you are not still smart and that you cannot still achieve great things. So the fact that I didn't know how to spell that, I don't even care, I'm gonna leave it in there. Okay, so permanent hair colour. So with a permanent hair colour, what happens is, so this goes right into the hair shaft, okay? So the cuticle opens up and then the pigment goes right in there. And then what it does, it goes in small and then it opens up. So it can't wash out. It's stuck in there, okay? So these are stuck in there. A permanent colour pigment will never wash out. The only way you can get a colour pigment out, a permanent colour pigment out, is by using a colour remover, which I will go into another time. But a colour remover will shrink that. It will make this small so that it will pop back out. But the only way you can do that is with a colour remover. So once you put a permanent colour on your hair, it is always there. So it's one of the things that is really important to remember when colouring your hair, because people think if you put a permanent colour on your hair and then it's 3 months down the line that it's not going to be there anymore, and that's not the case. Even though you think it's faded out, the pigment is still in there. So the actual colour may have faded, but you still need to bear in mind that you've got that permanent molecule in your hair, because if you put another colour over it, the chances are it won't lift, because tint doesn't lift tint. Tint doesn't lift tint. I'm probably going about this in a really roundabout way, but we'll go with it and we'll see where we get to. The demi-permanent and the permanent colours are kind of the most important ones that you need to know about, because they will have a long-lasting effect on your hair and what you can do with it in the future. So that is the difference between both of those colours. So what I want to do here is show you, like this, what is the difference between each one. So we've gone over it a little bit, but just to recap so that we remember. So a semi-permanent colour, no peroxide. Wash out in 2 to 6 washes. Because it sits on the outside layer of the hair, it's actually conditioning. So it's conditioning, conditioning and shine. I think the main thing to think when you think of semi-permanent colour is that it's coating the hair. So it coats the hair. So from that reason, so no damage, no damage. No damage, but no lift. Will not lift your hair. Right, so we've got that. So that's the semi-permanent colours. Now demi-permanent colours. Okay, demi-permanent colours, low peroxide. Also, here, so you need to do skin test on these two. Skin test, this is really annoying me. Skin test, no skin test. Low peroxide, washes out in won't lift other colour, won't lift another colour, partial grey coverage, great toner, L'Oreal castings. And then we've got a permanent hair colour. Permanently changes your colour. Grey coverage, covers grey hair. Covers grey. Will not lift. Okay, these are the difference between the three different types of hair colour. Just knowing this will make a big difference to making your colour choice.